You have a question?
No, I'm just...
Okay, take your time. What's your name?
Akash.
What's timeless about you? The means of recognition of that timeless cannot adhere to the worldly ways of recognition. So although we may try our hardest to make this quest, the spiritual quest, seem reasonable and rational, because the instruments are completely different, it's just not possible. So at the edge of rationality, if you come up with the highest spiritual concepts, at best what will happen is that will form the crux of the spiritual ego. It is not a true spirituality. If you hard up here, hardened up in terms of even notions of God, then that is not the heart, that is not the reality. Fully soft. Don't hold hard position. Because life has already shown you enough that it will squeeze it out of you. So, really the paths, and that is why Satsang is a unique classroom. You cannot compare it to any sort of teaching or learning methodology. Because at the end of this, you will not be left, at the end of our journey together, you will not be left with a rational, computable, verifiable set of notions that you can use. The attempt is for the light to light up the other light. Like a diya will light up the other diya. But the second diya says, but how? What is the process? Just tell me, I'll do it myself. I'm here to learn how to do it. I don't want you to do it for me or to me. And many times you get stuck in those kind of things. But it is not the way of this light, it is not the way of the heart for it to happen in that way. No matter what you learn, the best quality oil you buy, whatever you do, it is the heart which will light up the heart. It will never be heart to head, or definitely not head to head. So it's important to clarify that this project is completely different. Although the setting may seem similar to school or to any sort of learning, the project here is completely different. So if you play cricket and I'm playing football, we will not have a fun time together. You say, but why this? Why not like this? But I don't understand. You can't understand. Otherwise, the tools of understanding would be enough. If God could be understood, then your head is bigger than God. Isn't it? There's a set of notions that you can include in your head. Then God is just that. And you already know this. Which aspect of you, like I started satsang by asking, which aspect of you is timeless? How is that known? Love, goodness, truth, joy. How do you know that? How do you know these things? And the more you try to understand them, the more egotistical we become. So even in spirituality, actually most of us are running away from that timelessness within us. The search for understanding God actually is a escape from God. Like, I can't jump into the lake. Maybe I can draw a painting. And then I can look at the painting and say, I'm not far from God. You see, but the distance is infinite. You see this one? To not dive into the water, but have the best notions of water is an infinite distance, and therefore the wrong instruments cannot be used. That's 99% of the journey or battle or whatever you may want to call it. You see? Because to come to this heart, to rely on this, you see, do you know what God is going to tell you next? Or the Sadguru presence within you, whatever aspect, Divine Mother, whatever you want to call it, that which is the timeless aspect of you, how will you be guided? Do we want to know? What if the ask is beyond what we believe we can undertake? So isn't it much easier to come to satsang like this? This man will say a lot of things, pick up some things that you like and say, okay, I had a peaceful time for 2-3 hours. No risk. You see? And the master says, but what about that? Oh, wo main suna nahi. You said that, is it? You see? But when it's inwardly, there's no escape. Our ability to deny does not go that far, although it almost covers everything. So if you go to the presence within and you're guided to live a life in service to God, that project already may sound very different from what we have initially undertaken, because maybe we wanted a God-assisted life and not a God-dictated one. So the ego wants to do what? It wants to become God. Now one way to become God, or maybe the best way to become God, is to employ God as a servant. If God is your servant, you are the king. So we don't even realize these things, that what we are mostly asking for in the garb of religion and spirituality in the world is the ask for a God-assisted life. And the notion of a God-dictated one sounds oppressive. And yet at the same time our mouth says, I want to be in service, but my way. And this lack of faith, this lack of trust makes us run away from our own presence, our own divinity. The uncapturable, unfathomable nature of eternity within you. is scary to the mind. Scary to the mind. Because the mind will say, but there's nothing there. I'm in limbo. Some nonsensical thing like that. Just an avoidance of the meeting. So then the master says, okay, you want to meet that pristine being? I'm telling you how. Can you stop being? Then the mind says, yeah, this is good because I can all pretend that I'm just like going within. But I can answer from here. Everyone knows. So avoidance is possible in everything, including this instruction. Can you stop being? What darshan did you have in the taking the invitation of that question? Is that presence in time or out of time? What is the nature of your relationship with that? What is your existence in the light of that presence? To live empty of the false notion of individuality is the highest service to God. To expect that your spiritual experiences should help you individually is the mind's devious attempt. So what have we covered? We covered that we cannot use the wrong tools to come to the discovery, and then we are really contemplating what is all of this for. What is all of this for? Because you see that you don't exist in an instant. You that you thought yourself to be don't exist, you see it in an instant. The ego is not found in any of these contemplations. So then what is the right path to follow? Upon discovering the truth of who you are, the absence of the you that you took yourself to be, upon discovering that, if we insist on the truth of the non-existent one and expect the holy truth to be in service to that, is it not the greatest folly we can make?
The invitation, does that belong to you? So I was not able to answer that. Indeed, it was like, yes, I am the self. So somehow that is playing there.
If you answer yes, it is fine. As long as it is from the heart. You know the usual idea behind that question. The usual idea is that, is this present something that you as an individual, exactly the point that we covered just now, that you as an individual have ownership for, and therefore expect that being to serve you. You see, God, please help me. See? And then you say that, no, it's not something that belongs to the notional me. But if you are speaking from the heart and the heart is taking the perspective of the self, and you say, does my being belong to me? And the answer comes yes, it's fine. You're not going to be graded with that it is. So, is this light of God's presence, the presence of your being, is it palpable or not? Are you living in God's light or in the ego shadow? And it's two completely different roads. You can't say, I'm going on this road and I may go to Krishnagiri or Tiruvannamalai. That may be the same road. You may decide to stop at Krishnagiri and not go to Tiruvannamalai. But this is divergent direction completely. The way of the heart and the way of the head will not align. The lane is too narrow. Only God or me. Gali hai sakri. It is not big enough. Your heart is not big enough for the both of you. Pick. And don't run in the guise of any intellectual pursuit. There is no concept that you will discover uniquely. Okay? Everything is there. Most of what you will come up with is already written somewhere. Okay? So don't go on that journey. That I will compute now the best way to find God. Okay? So let go of that endeavor. God is here. It's being served up in raw innocence and simplicity. If you truly want to meet God, you have no excuses not to. But don't expect life to become better. Still want God? Still want to know? Oh, I just know. Because it is going to happen that if you try to manage both head and heart, life does seem to actually get worse. Many may report that actually I was better off before coming here. So all the blind spots that we have as our selfishness will start to poke us now. The what about me? Because what you're discovering is quite radical. God is very simple. All of you are discovering that God is very simple. You felt like it's going to be a multi-lifetime project and see, I may not I may take many years on the path. Where you wanted God, God is being made available. But the complexity is to let go of the selfishness. What do you want to serve the non-existent one? notion of Guru Dakshina in India, the return gift to the master for all that he has given you, had no boundary. The Guru could ask for anything. The best archer was made to give up his thumb. So that's a useful contemplation. That in return for finding what you're finding, what would you close your heart to if that request came to you from your inner Sadguru presence, not even Ananta. So if your inner presence, the demand was clear, what would you hold back on?
Being right about something.
You would hold on to that about something specific or something just like anything? Huh?
Pretty much everything, including spiritual.
You mean everything or any one thing? Like I say, okay, my son, Nitin, you are now done, fully cooked, enlightened, you are ready to share. Go, spread the word. And I say, but where's my Guru Dakshina? So, and I say, okay, now the only condition to all of this through your enlightenment is that you cannot be right about that one particular thing or anything. You say, no, take back the enlightenment. Let me be right. No, I'm making it sound strange, but this is the crux of it. This is the crux of it. And you will encounter it more and more. Because our attachment to my way, my idea, and our aversion to the idea of the will of God or obedience to the will of God. What would the resistance be for? God is everything, He knows everything, it's boundless. You're finding all of these things. And yet, I don't want God to mess me up. What if He's wrong just about one thing, which is my life? That I want to run. Why do you want to be right? Is it purely intellectual, like, I'm just right?
No, it's fear, it's basically.
It's fair. So, I don't know which game you thought you were stepping into. But this is the actual game being played here. You cannot surrender yourself halfway to God. Half surrender is just deal making. Fully surrendered, then the mind cannot push your button, cannot invite you back from God's light. It's these very attachments, these very desires are very righteousness. Even in like spirituality, we may say, oh, what I found to come to this or what I'm finding now is the best path, is the only way. So we may want to become right about that. I always believed this nonsense. It's like whatever I was doing, I felt like that is the best thing in the world. There is no better path. But we don't know. That is why that softness in the head is very important.
What if it is other way around? Whatever you are doing is like waste.
Because you're still attached to what meaningful would be. How would it be a waste?
What meaning?
Only in benchmark in relationship to that. What would be meaningful then? If my life is a waste. See, so we've already determined then that I have the capacity in my head to determine what would make a good life. Do you know goodness in your head? You want to become, if you become Elon Musk or something, would that be a good life? Do we know? We don't know. You want to become, for example, if you say, I want to become like you, Ananta, would that be a good life? We don't really know. You may decide to follow, but the outcome must be left to God. So the desire or aversion comes from a conceptual idea of what should be. And both are the same, two sides of the same coin. Do you know God's light within you? Do you know God's light within you or no? This is like taking some prodding.
Still going back to the mind check.
That is where the clarification of the tool is important. Is eternity alien to you? Timelessness. It's alien to your head. So where do you know eternity? Not alien to the head in the sense of you may have a notion about it. What is your head's notion of an eternal God? Some really old guy sitting somewhere. Because you cannot fathom the timeless. Can you imagine a timeless? You'll imagine dark, empty space. It's not the time. It's not God. But there is an aspect within you where this is clear to you. So my only job is to clean up. You see, that instrument has been hiding for I don't know how many million years. My job is to clean it up and show you. Here. Here is God. Through your inner insight. Completely palpable, tangible, higher than a worldly experience. You see? So when we pick on Arjun, sometimes saying that, okay, he fell for the same trick and he wanted to see the Virat root. It is not that we are saying that the palpability of God cannot be experienced, but through perceptual means what you were shown was possibly the highest conceptualization possible. But there is an even greater seeing which is available to you right now. But you cannot do it in your head. And you cannot do it within Maya. The measurable, measurable and the miserable. So is this your living experience or what? Why the sheepishness? You've not had a long break, have you? Too much doubt. What is it? Is it the fear of being arrogant? What is it?
It is when I heard, for example, I was hearing to Papaji.
No.
So-
One second. Is God's light palpable to you right now?
Yeah, that moment.
Now, not that moment. Now. Yes? God's light is palpable. You're going from yes, no, maybe. So meet the question. Don't let your mind wander. Meet it. Because this is the crux of it. And it takes no time. So don't have to put in a narrative. Don't have to say what happened yesterday. Now. Is God here now? That's it. Live here. Live here with no excuses. But my practical life, there is no life without God. But my family, but my relationships, but God's problem. Don't make excuses to run away. Then at least say, I'm just too scared. Don't say, but my practical life. Don't rationalize it. Say, I'm scared of dissolution. Because the light is too strong. And I cannot fathom it, I cannot understand it. But the minute I step in with one toe in the pool of light, fear grips me. I want to run from this seeming death. If it is that, some of you may be like, what is all this? It's very sober, it's fine. That's fine. That's fine too.
It's more of that from
Which one?
It's more of like, what is there to be scared or what could I lose?
Yes. Very good. Very good.
Right? Isn't that I mean,
So what is the Guru Dakshina you would deny me?
okay. My family.
Family, attachments, whatever that may be. To make a commitment to live in the will of God, to in the presence of God, you don't know. Until we can embrace that I don't know fully, then it is just in lip service to God. And also you can confront the notions of this, like maybe you have some ideas of a God which is angry or wants something from you or something like that. What prevents you from being open-handed and open-hearted? That is the question. Because the mind will use those very same things in your 40 days and nights. I say, but you're losing it. So what is your value spectrum? What comes on top? You see? And it's very good to become full of integrity about that. It's very good. Because then we move away from the lip service armchair spirituality saying God is number one for me. But when push comes to shove, then it's, oh, but some money would be nice, to have my children with me would be nice, to have this. Yeah. And say, no, but I want to merge with God. I want to follow God's will. But I'm still attached to these things. That's fine. At least you bring it in your light instead of hiding it under the carpet. You see, because God knows that what is being asked of you in the human condition can sound like the ultimate sacrifice. It is not that God is unintelligent. But to meet it in hypocrisy is what keeps us. So when we divide ourselves, there's a spiritual part of me which is like willing to give up everything to God, but then there's a practical life and I have to manage things, balance. That is our greatest disservice to ourselves. It takes us away from clarity. Instead say, help me to overcome this, or be honest with your attachments, about your attachments. There's no shame in that, because you're only in denial from your own self. That's why I've been sharing this story again and again. The father has two sons. And the father says this is needed to be done in the farm or something. So one says, because they consider themselves a very dutiful and very obedient son, so he says, yes father, I'll do it. The other son says, no, I won't do it. Neither son do it. But which one is the better son? It's really important to come out of denial.
Maybe I'm not understanding, it's some kind of a blind spot. Like, why would I need to have the God and the life to end up pain can come, you may lose your family, but you don't blame the God for it. It was a fate.
And who is in charge of fate?
God. But there's no, like, because I'm following God, this is happening. It's not like that. So there is a question of Guru Dakshina, like, give me your family. It doesn't happen like that.
What if it did?
I mean, yeah, I'm trying to understand that.
What if it did? What if every single attachment you had was asked of you? So instead of trying to rationalize it and say, but that won't ever happen, God is not like that. Yeah. You see? Instead of trying to rationalize it, meet your fear, meet your attachment, be open about them, shine your light on them. Because this sort of armchair rationalization keeps us away from the truth of who we are. Then we get into this, I've seen it for 11 years now. Kids will come and say, Father, I'm at your feet, come what me, you ask me for my head, I will give you. And you say, really? Then we lose this duplicity, the duality. Then you're like that son who says, no. At this point, I may give up my job, I may give up this thing, but I can't give up my kids. It's fine. But at least then we are not hiding and saying, yes, all for God. So let's admit it firstly that we don't know what will happen to life once you accept to be fully in God's presence. We don't know even of course we don't know in the mind also. It gives us this pretense control of planning and doing. But this is like jumping into the wide ocean with no concept of how it will play out. Why do you do it? Because it is true. Truth for truth's sake. Will not accept the unreasonable, irrational nature of God's play. You see? While we are still attached. And when I say unreasonable, is not unreasonable means beyond reason in the way I am using it. Beyond our ability to rationalize. You'll not give up on your head while you still value it. Where are your attachments? Where are they? The head. So as I give me your head, because with your head on you cannot find God. You will not give it because there are attachments there. So what am I saying? I am saying very good to shine your light on these attachments and with the best open-heartedly surrender them to God's will. God will not become part of your plans. Most of us in today's modern world, we come to Satsang believing that I'm making God a part of my life. God is upside down. I feel like I need to make some space for God also. So 10% God, 10% this. I'll live the perfect balanced life. You cannot jump into the void halfway or 10%. You cannot gift yourself God 10%. Gift yourself fully to God, then God is fully your gift. What keeps you from meeting yourself? What keeps you from meeting yourself? Who would be unable to meet themselves? I've shown you the tool. The insight is immediate. Aparoksha anubhuti. Immediate. Now what gives you the inability to meet God?
Stupid thought.
Stupid thought. That's it. And the thoughts revolve around what we are attached to, what our plan is, what control we still want. So the feast is at the table. What makes you run? Now you can't say, I don't know which knife and fork to use, I've told you. You can't say, I don't know if I'm hungry. You come here to hear this absurd silliness 3 times a week. So you must be hungry. What what makes you run? Just like that cat story. No? You were born in a world without mirrors. And then everybody, when you were born, you were told you were a cat. And your job is to get the next bowl of milk. So you were told, education is the key. Once you're well educated, everything will be fine in your life. Every society lies to us, parents lie to us. Get a good education, you'll have a happy life. So we lapped it up. Went to that bowl of milk, many of us. I lapped it up. I said, but where's the happiness I was promised? No. Now you have to settle down. At least in my zamana. So now you have to settle down. Once you settle down, find the best partner, then you'll have a happy life. Okay? So then settled down, found a partner, found a wife, whatever, a husband, whatever. Didn't happen. I say, no, but you need security, money, like job. 9 to 10 or whatever. 9 to 5 is mythical. No, 9. Jobs is there for that security. Your bank balance is growing, of course, spends also growing, everything, but you feel like you may come to a point where you feel like, okay, where's the happiness? There's this loan, that kids want to do this, they want to do that. I say, okay, no, actually, we lied to you. All this is Maya. All these bowls of milk are not the true bowls of milk. What you need to find is enlightenment, moksha, nirvana. Okay? So go to that bowl of milk and then you will have eternal contentment and happiness. See? So most of us, like cats, are looking for that when we first enter satsang. See? And for most of you, this is not your first rodeo. This is not your first spiritual experience, for most of you. Yeah? You've been there, you've been to various places. What happened? You may have got some joy from the practices, you may have got some joy from the teaching, you may have got. I say, no, it won't do. I need to find some place where I can really, truly discover myself. Come to direct nirvana, straight dive into moksha. Now you come to satsang. And the master says, bowl of milk? But where's the cat? And you say, but you see, most run off. Say, but I'm here for the bowl of milk. If you can give, otherwise back. Some who stay will say, but what do you mean? And I say to you, I have a mirror, you want to see? And you see. It's very easy to see in the mirror. It's no steps, 0 steps. Okay? Now you get stuck in the most absurd thing, which is, I see that there is no cat. How does that help the cat? Okay? So this is called worse off than when you started. In a way. I see there is no cat. But I can't yet give up on the cat. Does the seeing that there is no cat help me get the bowl of milk? Does my Atma Jnana make me an enlightened sage? Yeah. Any cat ambition we may have. So what to do now? You're stuck. Either give up on God or give up on the cat. If the lane is narrow, God or me. Both will not have a happy relationship together. Of course, it's fully rhetorical. We know what we have to give up on. I'm just bringing the problem into focus because you may think it's something else. You may think it's your partner, you may think it's your job, you may think it's your something else, your body. Me. Me. How does this help me? What's in it for me? Our value judgments have become so aligned to that question that even God should be subservient to me. How can you jump into the not knowing, the unborn, if you still tie yourself up to something in the world? And this fear catches most on this journey. Even Guruji says, the mind used to come and tell him, if you keep going like this, you're going to become a hunchback old beggar on the streets of Brixton like Quasimodo. Quasimodo was not in Brixton. Guruji was. You see, so it's natural. And the theme of Satsang today is to not be in denial of that. And truly, if you, in your heart you can say, let thy will be done, no problem. But if it is not that, at least bring it in your own life.
I feel that my heart, what you say are always going to be true. Like, there is not just the
Yes.
front of me, there's something else. And I was happy to be in two boats. So sometimes it was gone and sometimes it was me.
How do you know you were happy?
No, I mean in this sense. Now,
You were used to being in two boats. Let's put it that way.
Yes, I say I'm used to being, or was used to being in two worlds. And in my heart, I know that everything you say is true and it's not done. And now you're pushing so hard
Yeah.
that other boat
Yeah.
is now jumping up and down.
Yes.
And it's
And that is why this term, which I feel like is very helpful, came up in Satsang that day. Like we may feel like we can straddle two boats, one foot here, one foot there, but if you see from my eyes, that's just a comfortable head. Comfortable seeming head.
See?
Comfortable seeming hell.
Hell.
yeah.
To take yourself to be a tiny ant one moment, and to take yourself to be that which is beyond all the universes the next moment. It's not a comfortable way to live. But the mind says, but you can manage this. And then we categorize and say, oh, but this is vyavaharik knowledge. Yeah? And that is absolute. The denial, no knowledge which allows you to deny your true nature is useful to you. And nobody is up here on the walls because they were able to straddle two boats. Am I straddling two boats? It may look like you saw my daughter playing. You see, I have a job, I have a family. I'm not straddling two boats. That's why it's important to clarify, I'm not speaking about your outer life. I'm not saying quit your job, donate your bank account. I'm not saying any of that. Inwardly, keep your eyes on God, that's all. You cannot balance both these things together. The outer will play out how it has to. It's already completely out of your control. Outer has always been out of your control. It's just the power of making these narratives which try to give some rational spin to things. But it's a speed train that you're trying to control riding a bullock cart. And this is how you deny the magnificence of even the manifest life. You dim the presence of light around you because half the time, 90% of your time goes in the narratives. You're not even seeing the light in this room fully. It's just like, am I getting this? I understand. You may have noticed the light now, as I mentioned it, that there's light in the room. And I'm not talking about any mystical light. I'm just talking about these bulbs. So we're missing inner life and outer life because we are obsessed with story making. So my only job is to take you out of your story, out of your head, into your heart, that's all. Because all that's being spoken from here and has been spoken from here, just naturally from that, which is your very presence. So it's not an intellectual endeavor. It requires a complete openness. So when I say open and empty, it's really super simple. Really super simple to be open and empty. But it's not simple at all if you're clingy, if you're attached. Empty of the narrative. And it's like what Nitin said, you have to give up on all righteousness. You don't even know what this is. You don't know what this is. You don't know why you came here, how you came. Are you even here? You don't know that. But you want to be right. About what? Tell me one thing you can be right. Only truth that can be known is from the heart. So you can be right about God, love, truth, self. It's only these that you can absolutely be absolute about. Everything else is just mere speculation in the garb of my life. You want to have more meaning in that non-existent speculative life, fairy tale? Many are trying to do that. Let's try to make this mythical fairy tale, let's make it real. Wouldn't that be cool? So then what's called that man's search for meaning. We undertake that kind of endeavor. Just to give meaning to what? Is there man? We don't even know that. You want to give truth to a lie or lie to the truth? You want to make yourself that big that one day lie will become true and truth will become a servant. That is the ego's expedition, actually. You can contemplate that statement later. But really that's what it is. Make the lie into the truth and make the truth into a servant. So this outer satsang is just a means to come to that which is true, satsang, the company of the truth. What is true? The self is true, God's presence is true, true love is true, grace is true, goodness is true. Where can we meet any of these things? Where can we meet them? How hard can you think to make God's presence alive? Come on, let's really think hard today. You think we can do it with thinking? No? Think the highest thoughts. All of you have read. You've read enough scriptures, read enough books. Aham Brahmanasmi, Aham Brahmanasmi. Think. Om Namah Shivaya, Aham Brahmanasmi. Think and make the thought into God's presence. Can you do it? And then have an experience, a perceptual experience, the Virat Roop of God. Meet the Lord, meet Krishna in that way. It's very easy. Close your eyes in a moment, you can imagine the highest idea you have of God. Nothing, no big deal in that. Arjuna didn't even have to wait for Krishna for that. Just dive into your head. Your power of imagination itself can show you. There's nothing so great in that. How to come to the unchanging self. How to come to the light of God. Not through any predefined method. Not through any predefined method.
Guruji, this intention is also a method. Intention is also a method.
Many times it feels like that's all we have.
Yeah, that's what we have. So that will not be a method.
It's good enough. If I say to you jump and you say jumping, it could be just the intention to jump. It's good enough for me.
To find God, is it about desiring Him or is it more about surrendering? Because desire still is a process in object.
Yes,
right?
yes.
But surrendering is it like that seems to be, it's just like letting go.
In your heart, both are the same. In your head, they are different. So go where you can desire and surrender without any conflict between the two terms. You see? So where the irreconcilable becomes natural, that is your heart. You see? Where we still see distinctions, where we can still define, okay, but this. Be empty there. And the intention to be empty there itself is enough. So do I have a way to show you God? Do I have a way to show you God? No, I don't. In the sense that if it was a template, then I would have defined it by now and then No need for this satsang thing. The way is moment to moment. The way is moment to moment. Because your mind defenses are created sporadically. That's why it's a beautiful bhajan. No? हमें रास्तों की ज़रूरत नहीं है, हमें तेरे पैरों के निशान मिल जाएंगे. We don't need roads, paths anymore. All we have to do is here, 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 follow, here, that's it. And while we still resist that, like my way, okay, he's showing us, I can do, but to get to top of Arunachala, he's going from here. But I mean, you can go from the lake, little that side, like that. Then we struggle. You don't have to struggle. What I am sharing is not greater than what I have discovered. To find what I have discovered, you just have to eat the feast that I have prepared for you. I am not teaching you a way. I am telling you your next step. Because such a way is not created, such a path is not there. A road like that does not exist. I sat in front of my master, he did not teach me a path. He just showed me. He showed it to me right there and then. And that's the attempt. And many times our attempt to juggle our head and heart are actually fear-driven. It may look like pride from the outside. This one is too proud to follow. Actually, they're just scared of the unfathomable nature of your heart. Because we're in the mistaken fallacy that we are writing our story. And then you're scared that without me writing it, what's going to happen? And even worse maybe to the mind is that, what if there's a small 0.0000001% chance that all this stuff is all nonsense, it's all bunkum? Huh? What if? What is my safety net? He's saying give up everything, jump into God. What if I jump and there's no God? Just a meaningless nothingness, a limbo. No, I mess up my life fully. I need to have some insurance. I need to retain something of myself. I need to retain something. Can't do that. Fully naked. Not a strand you can carry. Naked of even the body. You can't even carry your body. The spirit meeting spirit.
But if you've had the bhoga of everything that you aspired for, you still haven't found anything, then that leap becomes much easier.
Yes. Yeah. As I said, most of you, this is not your first rodeo. You've been to enough spiritual things and had enough worldly spiritual experiences.
The reason why when God is becoming apparent, the reason why all these attachments come up is because they are vanishing. Once God is there, all of those things, I want this, I want that, those things are vanishing.
So you, like,
in themselves.
it's the last stand in a way. That's what you're saying? Like it's just before going, it's darkest before dawn, like that.
I'm saying the reason why it has to be one of the two is because once God is there, the thing that you're wanting, it stops being there at all. The thing you're attached to. Maybe.
In what way? In the experience
say
of the
I-
perception of it, or what do you mean?
Like say I want grape juice and then I ask myself, do I exist? Then grape juice doesn't
The
remain.
craving,
anymore.
yes, the craving for
Not even the craving, grape juice itself doesn't remain because it's. I think.
Yes, it doesn't remain in the sense that labellessly you can still perceive whatever
yes,
needs
yes,
to be
yes.
perceived, but you cannot really truly define anything as that, and you don't need to. Like I keep saying, I don't need to say this is a glass full of water to drink from it.
It's that vanishing itself that makes us that desire, that awakens that
It's
desire.
not that kind of vanishing. That kind of vanishing. So, in fact, it is a mostly with no expectations. It is kind of a more brightening or more vibrant taste. Just to follow up on what Naren said, that's why the sage is also called the Mahabhogi. It can seem very contradictory to our idea, but actually, in a moment, you see, what you are experiencing of the world is full of so much light and beauty and sound, all of that. It's like I said, no, I never saw a flower till I met my master. I saw a flower for the first time after meeting Guruji. It's always been like this. Has it always been like this? And that's why these days I'm passing around salad plates. Can you see this? And perhaps she ate my salad also. It is not a sort of like a nihilistic limbo vanishing. All you lose is your story, the ability to narrate. Not even the ability, but the need to narrate. Put it into a frame of reference. In fact, much more than a vanishing, you discover the broadness of your being, where this one universe cannot take up all its space. You experience yourself in a much broader way. पर पहले अभी एक यूनिवर्स संभाल लेते हैं.
Last time, I think on Satsang, he had asked a question related to Krishna mission, and I've had a similar experience, so it triggered the same thing. So if you can talk about that a little bit, then it's like getting overdosed on something, basically. I got overdosed on Bihari ji for 14 years. My grandmother used to live in Vrindavan, and I attended every aarti, morning, evening, 14 years for summer vacation. I used to keep watching the same statue, and I don't know what the hell's going on. So got completely. Then the OD happened on the Ramakrishna mission. I'm just wondering why that should happen to a young kid who's not really biased. I wasn't like full of ego or something. It's just like nothing made sense. And the context in which I'm asking the question to get some insight is for my kids, basically. You know, I don't want to OD them on anything. But at the same time, I don't want to swing the pendulum to the other side, right? So yeah, this is kind of a vague area of unresolved confusion.
The broader answer, of course, is that it's not at all templatizable. You have to be heart, moment to moment. You see, Advaita, come to Satsang today. No? You don't know in advance. You don't know in advance. It's just like you have to allow your heart to move your actions. Of course, the goodness or the badness of events and what happened to us, we can't really determine, because here I was an atheist. Because as a very young child, I've hardly ever shared this story, but I was very much into God. In fact, I remember in the school bus, I would just in every cloud, I would say, oh, that's Ramji, that's Krishna, you know, like that. And then my mom went through some challenges, like mental challenges and things like that. And I was a very young boy then, so I said, all this talk of God is all nonsense, and this is the human condition, and we have to bear it. So as a very young kid, I came to this, maybe in the 5th standard or 6th standard. No God business for me. It's for many years, and I felt at that point and throughout till the early 20s, I felt like I'll be an atheist forever, because this God talk is all losers business. Right? So in a way, like I got OD'd because my mom is very religious and spiritual and those things. So, but can I say that to be off it was bad for me or good for me? I don't really know. You can't really say. In the same way for both of you. You're here, so for me that sounds good.
Last time I was here, I was sitting and watching that, and I suddenly got it. Like, what is going on in that picture? And I was like almost full of tears. So yeah.
The beauty of this is, and it may sound like a romantic notion or something, but one moment of God's presence truly felt can wipe out like lifetimes of conditioning. What's the best way to bring up our kids, especially in relation to spirituality? Can't templatize, you just have to follow. So I was just sharing while you were away, I was sharing with them that some of the things I've started sharing on family groups after sharing Satsang for 11 years. Now I've started sharing on family groups. Because they just feel like, you know, they won't like it. They'll say, Papa, don't start here. And then, especially with extended family, you're just like, they'll tell Garima, they'll tell Tina, and then, you know, I think, what's the worst? Everybody can hate me in their judgment, but suppose 1 out of the 100 really becomes open to this. Worthwhile.
Yeah, I went for Meera's retreat in Rishikesh.
Yeah.
I was blown away. There were like maybe 20 people who had never heard of, let's call it just non-duality for lack of a better description. But the thirst of that was like, I was like, wow.
Full on. If my love for you is truly valuable, if I'm able to lead you to your heart, then why should I pre-decide that these ones should get that love and these ones should not? And your intuition guides you. This is anyway the most unlikeliest of satsang to have happened today, because I woke up this morning and I just felt like I've just finished sharing like 50, 100 satsangs or something. The body was feeling that heavy when I woke up and everything. Then 7 o'clock I started vomiting. And I felt a bit lighter, thankfully with that. But every time I checked with him, should we cancel satsang? And all these kids were also asking, should we cancel today? I don't know what will happen once I go back, but so far it seems fine. It's looking tired? Yeah, I'll go very soon. I'm already starting to feel a bit. But we can't really say, like, I don't know if this is being recorded or not, but suppose somebody hears some of this absurd stuff after 10,000 years. It clicks with them. We don't know. We don't know what anything is for. So it's best to just follow moment to moment God's guidance in your heart. And it's so beautiful that ultimately it is formless. So you can say, Father guide me, Mother guide me, whatever you want to impose on God, God does not mind. Buddy, please help. You can form your own connection. As long as you don't rely on your head. Your guidance is never missing. You may not always like it. If you're only looking for confirmation, then it's not going to work out well. That's so easy. It's very easy without arrogance. To live is very easy, very simple. Open and empty takes care of 99% of things. You usually don't need guidance or anything like that. When something happens and then it's not so clear, so then if you feel you need some guidance, you can go to the Sadguru presence within. Answers are also available. It's such a easy life. Inwardly, outwardly you could have challenges. And anybody who's looking at an outward narrative may say, okay, they have this also, this also, this also. The way of the heart is very simple. It's the way of the head which is complex. Anytime you find yourself computing 2 plus variables, it's the head. You find yourself like mirrors and like squinting. You find yourself squinting in your head. In your heart, the highest insight, which is the absolute, is effortless. In your heart, God's presence is palpable. In your heart, everything that is there to taste in this manifest world can be tasted even more with more vibrancy than before. So it's a win-win-win. All you lose is your story. It's amazing. I mean, just look at it's not a quid pro quo. You exchange one fantasy narrative and you've given everything in the world and beyond. And yet, for a while it can seem like the ultimate sacrifice. And the time for the Guru Dakshina can seem scary. What he'll There is no, your first time here, there is no Guru Dakshina yet. I'm just using that as a metaphor today. Akash, first time is coming. In a way, there is Guru Dakshina. In the sense, I want everything. I don't see it that way. I don't want your minor thing. Who was that? Who was saying that? Is it Father? You're sounding today like Subhash Chandra Bose. Was it you or no? तुम मुझे खून दो मैं तुम्हें I like that. But not just खून. Unless you present yourself fully, the highest gift cannot be given to you. Still have stuff in your pockets. You may enter the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven. Guruji says like this? Yeah. There's a metal detector. You try to pass through the tiniest attachment, a twig, it starts beeping.
He said that, so he goes to the gates when he says,
Yeah.
who's it? He says,
Yeah.
it's me. And he says, okay, go back.
Yeah,
And
that's
he
a different
says,
one.
he says,
Who is it? It's you, my lord.
we got it. Yeah.
That which may seem like the greatest sacrifice today is actually the doorway to such immense strength and freedom. Because the world cannot push you around them. If you accept everything as God's grace, is a Guru Kripa Kevalam. No? Kevalam is a very important word there. It's not categories that, oh, God was on a break, so this happened. No, everything. You have faith when you don't need things to be fair. You have faith when you don't have to make things understandable. You have faith when you don't need miracles also. They may happen, of course. They're absolutely welcome to happen. But because to follow because of miracles is to like follow because of rationality. If this head exploded just now and became a ball of light, then you'll be stupid not to follow. So that's even better, even more reason to follow than in the worldly way, reason to follow than rationality. The other way to follow is to, okay, I like going to him because he makes sense. Then you are not hearing me fully because I'm trying not to make sense. If I'm making sense, then you're only hearing with confirmation bias. You're confirming what you think you already understand. So to follow on the basis of perception or on the basis of rationality Doesn't need faith. Faith is because somewhere in your heart something is being called and you can notice it. You can notice. Something brings you back here, something is yearning for Satsang, yearning for the truth. To follow that silent whisper is faith, because the mind shouts. The mind is loud, it's in a rush. But the quiet call of the timeless truth in your heart, it takes faith to follow. Because it offers you no guarantee. It doesn't tell you what is your role going to be in the timeless.
Guruji, before I came here, Dr. Gauri used to tell me, you come over here, but I was very scared. What if you ask me why are you here?
Yeah.
Because I was not sure why am I here and am I a fake? So that feeling when there is inside you, it doesn't develop the desire to know the truth for the truth's sake. So what do you do with that?
Since you've come, isn't it?
Yes.
So something must be pulling you back, even though it may not be making sense,
Yes,
and you may say, I don't know whether I have enough desire, or can I surrender fully? All those doubts are happening here. What brings you to Satsang?
I don't know.
Follow that.
But that doesn't want me to know truth just that badly.
Badly means it's not shouting.
Yes, I'm sure.
I just said the quiet voice of eternity, because eternity is all the time. There's no need to push and rush. And yet the call will get clearer and clearer and louder and louder. Already is doing so well. You see? Because most who are invited by friends to come and they just come, like that, they come here and they're like, I don't know, I can't understand what he's saying. Something. But you've been here since you've come, I've seen. So the call of your heart is already very loud, because there is no other perks here for you to come. You don't get some great prasad, you don't get anything. You're not even blessed with a long life or with money or nothing. And yet you come. You may come and maybe your head gets frustrated, maybe you feel unworthy here. All those things may happen. You see? But there's already a calling in your heart which brings you here. Even if in the head it translates like, I don't know, there's something. So that is itself very good, because that needs faith. That's exactly what I'm saying actually. If you were to just come because you rationalize everything, after 7 satsang, you have an insight into your being. After 15 satsang, the absolute is apparent to you. After 50 satsangs, you become fully enlightened. Suppose that was, then it's all rational. Then you say, Aja, now my 5th. Okay, 5th, but 2 more. You're not doing that. You just come, you don't know what's going to happen. Is it? You don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the initial conversations with Ishana were, but initially it must have been about, just like to find peace, or usually when people start talking about spirituality in the world, they're very different flavor of conversation. But you've come here, you sat through the absurdness of what is spoken here, and still you keep coming back. So I am trusting your heart more than you're trusting your heart at the moment. See, because what you're worried about is the fear that you may stop coming if your head doesn't find enough value in it. And it'll make some garb of, but am I really willing to give up everything? See, it latches on to something. Is my desire that much? Like, if this has been bothering you to some extent, can I surrender fully? No, I don't know. So these things are very good to keep coming out like that. All these things are coming to your light for the first time. And you will realize the answers to these are only available intuitively. Why do you come to satsang? Not possible. Body is not becoming stronger, no yoga, no pranayama being taught here. One day I did just randomly, but body nothing, no mantra to make money or to lead a prosperous life, no things to learn some new skills, you'll be able to write books on Advaita, none of that. Nothing on offer and still you come. That's a wonder. That's a wonder. Gopala came like that for years. Many times he's sitting alone next to me on the dining table. Or maybe one person. Why he came? He'd already been like vice president of Satya Sai Mission, this thing, that thing, teacher at Eternal School of Self-Knowledge or whatever. He came to this little boy. Now, of course, looks much older and all that, but when he started coming, he used to look like a spring chicken or something. Why did he come? The heart calls, you can't understand. Yeah, it works in like mysterious ways. I can't fathom, and I never ask, like I hardly ever ask. Mama used to come very regularly earlier, then she had a bit of a break, and she was coming online regularly. Now she's coming here like this, I see. But I'm not saying, so what happened? Because it's okay. It's how our heart is calling. You can't decipher these things. And sometimes I feel like if I know all the stories, then it will just contaminate the beauty of this meeting. So I hardly ever ask any of you, tell me about you. Because you'll give me a story about you, which I have no value for. One moment of meeting your eyes is much more valuable to me to know, understand your idea of your context. I actually don't know why any of you can't. I have no idea. I can make some narratives, but those narratives don't match anything to do with reality. Like this boy has done every spiritual practice in the world for I don't know how many years.
But Father, I contemplating this weekend. I mean, I have a mind story why I come. See, when we come here, right?
Have you taken notes or
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Oh,
See,
pay attention.
before coming here, right? There's something missing, or rather, lack of it. But after coming here, in your presence, not just physically, but even mentally, right? Even if you're away doing something else, I'm just a thought away from you, right? I know that you're there. That was actually giving me now the question is it a false hope?
Hope. Yes.
Or an attachment? Which probably the mind is caught on to something new.
Yeah. Everybody's got their popcorn out now.
Yeah. So the answer to the question is, am I coming because I'm attached to you, or rather I'm feeling a sense of checkbox,
Yes.
or good,
Feeling better.
feeling better,
Peaceful.
So yeah, that's
And answer is what?
I want to know.
Oh.
No, because my mind tells me that I'm just coming because I feel good. Suddenly I'm more stable, sorted.
Yeah. Those are the byproducts. Somewhere you already see that those are the byproducts or no?
Yes.
Or you see that? Only there the truth is. Your heart was calling out for the truth. And that call is being accepted and answered. But even these words cannot really convey truly.
Another.
So, faith is the absence of logical explanations. We are just saying. So, sometimes it's easy. Some kids who've come, they've had an experience with me where it was out of the world. Then it's like, okay, now this I can follow because I've gone to various spiritual things in the world, and I didn't have this. But I'm saying that even if that didn't happen, and you have no rational explanation for it, even then if you come, then that is trust, that is faith.
Another thing I want to share about the previous Wednesday Satsang, like intense chopping was happening, right? So post that, right, there was a very strong, I'm not saying right word, very intense. But earlier, if that intensity was happening, right, something was happening, I can't put it in words.
Yeah.
I would have probably said that, oh, I'm going through some anxiety. This time, the first time, it was a huge wave. But I clearly told myself, I shut down the mind and clearly said that there is no story to believe because you're here around, right? Even if I'm away, I can come and quickly talk to you, right? So this is where the previous question is connected, right? Is it a false hope? My mind is telling, oh, Ananta is here, right? So now, no story itself is another story for me. Because you're there with me physically, at physical level I can come and talk to you, hold you and say, oh, this is happening. The checkbox is happening, okay, because of that, I'm telling myself, oh, this is not a story. And I could just, there are a lot of things happening at a body level, but I didn't give any, I didn't bother, but it was very intense and over a period of time it just...
But the good thing is that you're noticing that in consciousness, even though these intense experiences are coming, once you change the story from a hopeless story to a hopeful story, the perception itself did not have the bite.
Yes.
And actually it never does. It is only magnified and amplified with a narrative, which makes any moment in life unbearable. So of course it's not a false hope, because like you said, beautiful actually, you said I'm just a thought away, but actually prior to the thought I am. So I'm that close to you. So this one body is of course in service to all of you, but it's just a mere instrument for that. The highest, most potent being is your very presence. But you're spotting the power of what narrative you give to something.
I'm surprised that, when you make it zero, even big wave is nothing else because it's surfing through. There's a surfer. It doesn't make any sense.
So, Father?
Yes.
It's so like byproducts and stuff like that, and you speak about usually we speak about byproducts being miraculous or positive or feel good or something like that, but also Guruji talks about when the biggest storm of the mind comes, then you're on to something.
Yes.
So can byproducts also be not feel good?
Yes. Okay. In fact, maybe before you joined, I was just saying that what if it was almost guaranteed that you came to this path and your life started to become a mess? Would you still come? Because that needs faith. That needs a complete upheaval of the notion of spirituality, which is supposed to assist us having a more balanced life. Here has been taken over. Yeah. Especially the time where we seem to be oscillating between head and heart, that time can seem very oppressive actually. It can seem worse off. It may seem worse off. Like, why did I even come to Satsang? And then all the tantrums and grievances, and he doesn't take care of me, he doesn't love me, he doesn't care. All this happened, at that time. Very natural. If your master became fully understandable, a very lame master. Even I would not want such a master. Achha. Oh, it's like 7 o'clock. He must be doing this. It's like so predictable, and yeah. He's going to say, he starts off with talking about doership, and then he goes to this, and then he goes to that. You have to accept the mystery fully. What is he? Or she, whoever the master is. Are they really seeing what they're sharing? Where can you confirm these things? You may say even simpler. You say maybe I love my master. So I really revere him, or I'm devoted to my master. Where do you know that? That's your heart. There's an aspect where the master is a complete unknown, and there's an aspect where the master is closer than close. Otherwise, satsang like this is big trouble, no? Somebody, they ask you, what did you learn in satsang today? You've been going to Ananta 5 years. What have you learned? Yeah, I'm sure everybody has some shrink-wrapped explanation to give family and friends, but really it's not that, no?
But I feel in my case, like both are happening. The search for truth's sake, that appreciation has gotten better over time simply because I'm experiencing it. Until I hadn't got a taste of it, I didn't even know how I could answer that question. So I would have said I'm coming for a benefit. And there are benefits also, like he said, the surfing thing, right? I was flying to the US and Air India.
No?
I was all set in business class and everything, paid a nice fare for it, and my TV unit wasn't working.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it's alright. I had no entertainment for 16
Really?
hours.
Wow.
But I would have been so pissed. A year ago, sara paisa de diya, ye ho gaya, or I'll call the air hostess, chal nahi raha, pick karo. And I would give her a speech. So those surfing events are happening.
These itself are miracles. No? You can go from resentment and the feeling of unfairness to just openness, and maybe sometimes we look at it as an opportunity.
Yeah, it was
16 hours
16
of being
hours
open
like,
and oh, this is Bhagwan month. Look, it's strange.
That's where I found the blue one. This thing.
No, it's sweet. It's sweet.
It says something. It says no creation.
Neither creation nor destruction, neither destiny nor free will, neither path nor achievement. This is the final truth. All good? My health is fine. Shiva has asked the fewest question today. Huh?
Pile up next time.
Huh?
Pile up next time.
We'll pile up. I asked for it now. I've not sung for a long time.
Not sung for a long time. Not come for a long time.
No more? Cheer the expression. Do that. What is it?
Very bad. This is a small. Having some cook issues, I'm constantly on the phone.
Saguna has been given enough attention.
तुझं सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझं सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे सगुण निर्गुण एक गोविंदु रे एक गोविंदु रे सगुण निर्गुण एक गोविंदु रे एक गोविंदु रे तुझं सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझं सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझं दृश्य म्हणो की अदृश्य रे तुझं दृश्य म्हणो की अदृश्य रे दृश्य दृश्य एक गोविंदु रे दृश्य दृश्य एक गोविंदु रे तुझं सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझं सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझं आकारू म्हणो की निराकारू रे तुझं आकारू म्हणो की निराकारू रे आकारू निराकारू एक गोविंदु रे आकारू निराकारू एक गोविंदु रे तुझं सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझं सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझं स्थूल म्हणो की सूक्ष्म रे तुझं स्थूल म्हणो की सूक्ष्म रे स्थूल सूक्ष्म एक गोविंदु
निवृत्ति प्रसादे ज्ञानदेव बोले बाप रखुमदेवी वरो विठ्ठलु रे निवृत्ति प्रसादे ज्ञानदेव बोले बाप रखुमदेवी वरो विठ्ठलु रे तुझ सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे सगुण निर्गुण एक गोविंद रे एक गोविंद रे सगुण निर्गुण एक गोविंद रे एक गोविंद रे तुझ सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणो की निर्गुण रे The words of this song, they align with your seeing? Or does it still sound scriptural? Nivriti is the older brother.